Success rarely begins with a dramatic moment. It rarely starts when everything is perfect, when the money is available, or when the schedule is wide open. More often, success begins quietly in the margins of a busy life. It begins in the early mornings before the world wakes up, or in the late evenings when the day's responsibilities are finally done. It begins when someone decides that even though they cannot give their dream a full day, they will give it an hour. That is the magic of part-time ambition. Most people believe that dreams require full-time commitment right away. They imagine that unless they can quit their job, dedicate every waking hour, and move at lightning speed, there is no point starting. But that belief has stopped more dreams than failure ever could. Because the truth is this: great things are often built part-time before they ever become full-time. Think about the power of small, consistent effort. 1 hour a day may not sound like much, but 1 hour a day for a year becomes more than 365 hours of focused progress. That is the equivalent of working full-time for over 2 months on something that matters deeply to you. Imagine what could happen if those hours were spent learning, building, writing, creating, or improving. Part-time ambition is not about doing less. It is about starting where you are. Many of the most successful people began their journey while holding ordinary jobs. During the day, they worked to pay the bills, but in the evenings, they worked on their future. While others were watching television, they were studying. While others were complaining about their situation, they were building a new one. The secret was not that they had more time. The secret was that they used their time differently. Part-time ambition requires discipline, but it also creates freedom. Because when you begin part-time, you remove the pressure of immediate perfection. You give yourself the opportunity to learn, to experiment, to grow. You can make mistakes without risking everything. You can improve step by step. And step by step is how most victories are achieved. Too many people underestimate what can be accomplished in small blocks of time. They wait for a perfect moment that never arrives. They tell themselves, one day when things settle down, I'll start. But life rarely settles down. Responsibilities grow, demands increase, and that one day quietly disappears. The difference between those who achieve their dreams, those who only talk about them, is often very simple. One group starts before they feel ready. Part-time ambition allows you to begin now. You do not need to have the entire path figured out. You only need to take the first step. Spend an hour learning a new skill. Spend an hour improving your knowledge. Spend an hour building something that belongs to you. Over time, that hour begins to compound. Your skills grow. Your confidence grows. Your opportunities grow. And one day, something remarkable happens. The thing you once worked on part-time begins to demand more of your attention. What started as an evening project begins to turn into something bigger. The small seeds you planted during spare hours begin to grow into opportunities that were once impossible to imagine. But none of that would have happened if you had waited for the perfect time. The magic of part-time ambition is that it transforms ordinary hours into extraordinary progress. It proves that you do not need to change your entire life overnight in order to change your future. You only need to start using a small part of your time with great purpose. Imagine two people living the same life. They both work the same job. They both have the same responsibilities. They both finish their day at the same time. But one person spends their extra hours drifting through the evening, while the other spends those hours building a better tomorrow. 5 years later, their lives will look very different. Not because one person had more opportunity, not because one person had better luck, but because one person decided that their spare hours were too valuable to waste. Your future is often hidden inside the hours that most people ignore. Those quiet hours before sunrise, those peaceful moments late at night, those small windows of time that seem insignificant today, but become powerful when used consistently. Great achievements are rarely the result of sudden bursts of effort. They are usually the result of steady dedication over time. That is why part-time ambition is so powerful. It teaches patience, it builds discipline, it strengthens belief, and slowly, almost invisibly, it moves you closer to the life you truly want. You do not have to abandon your responsibilities to pursue your dreams. You only have to give your dreams a place in your daily routine. Start with 1 hour. One focused hour spent learning, improving, creating, or planning can change the direction of your life. And when that hour becomes a habit, it becomes a force. Because ambition does not need a full day to begin. It only needs a small window of commitment. And when you give your dreams even a small portion of your time, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your future starts quietly taking shape, 1 hour at a time. Most people believe success begins with a huge leap, a bold move, a perfect plan, or a moment when everything suddenly changes. But real progress rarely begins that way. more often success begins with something small, almost unnoticed. It begins with a simple decision to start, even when the conditions are not perfect and the resources are limited. One of the greatest lessons in personal development is understanding that small beginnings carry enormous power. Many people delay their dreams because they think they must start big. They tell themselves they need more money, more time, more connections, or more confidence before they can take action. Unfortunately, while they are waiting for these things to appear, time continues to move forward. The truth is that progress does not require perfection, it requires movement. Starting small removes the pressure that often keeps people stuck. When a person believes they must take a giant step, the task can feel overwhelming. But when they focus on a small step, the journey suddenly becomes manageable. Reading 10 pages of a book may seem minor, but over time it builds knowledge. Practicing a skill for 30 minutes may feel insignificant, but repeated practice leads to mastery. Writing a few ideas each day can eventually become a finished project. Small actions create momentum, and momentum creates confidence. When someone begins taking small steps, something powerful happens inside their mindset. They stop seeing themselves as someone who wants to succeed and start seeing themselves as someone who is actually moving forward. That shift in identity is extremely important. Confidence does not come before action. Confidence grows because of action. Education teaches us that growth is a process. Just as a tree begins as a tiny seed, great achievements often begin with the smallest efforts. At first, the progress may not be visible. It may feel slow and quiet. But with consistency, those small efforts begin to accumulate. Many successful individuals started their journeys with limited time and limited resources. What they had, however, was the willingness to begin. They understood that the first step does not need to be impressive. It only needs to exist. Starting small also allows room for learning. When people take gradual steps, they can adjust, improve, and gain experience along the way. Mistakes become lessons rather than disasters. Each attempt provides new information, helping them move forward with greater clarity and skill. This approach is both practical and empowering. Instead of waiting for a perfect opportunity, individuals create their own progress through daily effort. A small step. Today becomes another step tomorrow, and over time, those steps build a path towards success. The most important idea to remember is that greatness is rarely born from hesitation. It grows from action, even when that action is modest. By choosing to start small, a person begins building something powerful, not just results, but the discipline and belief that make lasting success possible. Time is one of the most valuable resources we have, yet it is also the most easily wasted. Many people spend their free hours on distractions, entertainment, or idle routines, never realizing that these same hours could be used to shape a brighter future. What sets high achievers apart is not necessarily talent or luck, but how they choose to use their spare time. They understand that small, intentional actions in moments that others overlook can create extraordinary outcomes over time. Spare time is not meaningless. It is an opportunity waiting to be claimed. Even if someone works a full-time job or has numerous responsibilities, there are pockets of time in every day that can be used with purpose. It might be an hour before the sun rises, a quiet evening after the family is asleep, or even small intervals during breaks. What many people see as insignificant moments are actually powerful tools for growth, learning, and progress. When these hours are used intentionally, they become building blocks for a better life. A single hour spent learning a new skill, reading a book, or practicing a craft might feel small, but repeated consistently, it creates a foundation for significant achievement. Education teaches that growth is cumulative. Each small effort adds to previous ones, and over time, these efforts compound. The person who dedicates themselves to using spare time wisely develops knowledge, skills, and confidence that will serve them far beyond those hours. Using spare time wisely also reinforces discipline and focus. It is easy to ignore the potential of short intervals, but choosing to act on them requires commitment and intentionality. The habit of making the most of available time strengthens character and builds a mindset geared towards success. It trains the individual to recognize opportunities and take consistent action, even in the face of challenges or distractions. This approach is not just about productivity, it is about creating possibilities. Many of the most successful endeavors in history began as part-time pursuits. People built businesses, mastered skills, or explored passions during the hours that others treated as downtime. What began as small, deliberate efforts eventually grew into something far greater. because the time invested was consistent, intentional, and aligned with a larger goal. The inspirational message here is clear. You do not need to wait for a perfect moment to pursue your dreams. Your future can start in the hours you already have. By committing even a small portion of your spare time to meaningful action, you are investing in yourself and your potential. Over weeks, months, and years, this investment compounds, producing results that might seem impossible at first, but become inevitable with persistence. Ultimately, spare time is a gift, and how it is used determines the quality of one's life. Those who recognize its value seize it, turning ordinary hours into stepping stones toward extraordinary achievement. By consistently using even brief moments to build knowledge, develop skills, or create something meaningful, you set yourself on a path where small actions become great accomplishments, and part-time effort becomes the foundation of a full-time success story. Consistency is one of the most powerful forces in achieving success, yet it is often underestimated. Many people look for quick results, dramatic breakthroughs, or sudden inspiration, believing that these are the keys to accomplishment. The truth is that real progress rarely happens in a single moment. It happens through steady, repeated effort over time. Small actions, when performed consistently, build momentum, deepen skills, and ultimately lead to extraordinary results. Think of consistency as a compounding effect. Just as money invested wisely grows through interest over the years, effort invested daily compounds into remarkable achievement. 1 hour spent each day learning, practicing, or creating may feel minimal in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, it accumulates into a significant body of work. What seems insignificant now can transform into mastery opportunities and measurable results in the future. Consistency is not just about doing something regularly, it's about maintaining focus and direction over time. It is easy to begin with enthusiasm, but many give up when results do not appear immediately. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is often persistence, the ability to keep going, even when progress seems slow. Daily, consistent effort shapes habits, strengthens discipline, and builds the character needed to overcome challenges along the way. There is also a profound educational lesson in this approach. Learning, improvement, and growth are processes that require repetition. A skill cannot be mastered in a single session, and knowledge is not absorbed in one reading. By committing to regular practice and continuous improvement, a person reinforces understanding and develops competence. Each repetition builds confidence and reduces mistakes, making future efforts more effective. Over time, small, consistent actions create expertise that would have been impossible without sustained effort. The inspirational aspect lies in the idea that anyone can harness this power, regardless of their current circumstances. Even limited time, when used consistently, becomes a powerful resource. An hour a day, a few minutes each morning, or small efforts scattered throughout the week may seem trivial, but they are the seeds of lasting success. When compounded, these hours give rise to progress that can surpass what a single burst of effort could ever achieve. Consistency also fosters resilience. By committing to small actions every day, a person develops the mental strength to face setbacks without giving up. They learn that progress is rarely linear, and that perseverance, rather than perfection, leads to achievement. Each step forward, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that improvement is possible and that success is attainable. Ultimately, consistent effort is a bridge between where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. It turns intentions into results, ideas into accomplishments, and dreams into reality. By embracing the power of daily, repeated action, individuals unlock the compounding effect that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary success. In the end, it is not the occasional effort that changes a life, but the persistent, disciplined, and consistent pursuit of improvement that creates lasting impact. Many people believe that significant success requires full-time commitment from the very beginning. They imagine that in order to achieve something great, they must dedicate every hour, abandon their current responsibilities, and risk everything at once. But the truth is far more encouraging. The journey toward extraordinary results often begins with part-time effort. What starts as a small, intentional action in spare hours can gradually grow into opportunities, achievements, and a life once thought impossible. Part-time effort allows a person to take meaningful steps toward their goals without sacrificing stability or security. While the rest of the world waits for the perfect moment or the ideal circumstances, those who act part-time create a foundation for success that is both manageable and sustainable. They understand that progress does not require abandoning everything familiar. It requires starting somewhere, even if it is in the evenings, on weekends, or during small pockets of free time. This approach also teaches patience and perspective. When we commit part-time, we learn that growth is a process. Success does not arrive overnight, and it does not demand reckless haste. Each hour invested builds skills, confidence, and insight. Mistakes made in these smaller time frames are not disastrous, they are lessons. Each adjustment, each improvement contributes to a stronger, more resilient foundation for the future. Over time, the part-time effort compounds into results that might have seemed out of reach at first. Another key benefit of part-time ambition is the freedom it provides to explore, experiment, and innovate. When a project or skill is pursued full-time from the start, the pressure to succeed can be overwhelming. Part-time effort reduces that pressure, allowing for creativity, learning, and risk-taking without jeopardizing one's livelihood or stability. This approach encourages steady experimentation and adaptation, which often leads to breakthroughs that would not have been possible under intense immediate pressure. The inspirational message lies in the idea that small beginnings can lead to great transformations. Many people who achieved remarkable success did so by starting part-time. They devoted evenings, early mornings, or weekends to their goals, gradually building expertise, networks, and momentum. Over time, the project that once seemed like a small side effort demanded more attention, eventually becoming a main pursuit or even a career. This demonstrates that greatness is rarely instantaneous, it is nurtured patiently, hour by hour, step by step. Part-time effort also reinforces the value of consistency, discipline, and focus. By deliberately allocating even a portion of time toward meaningful work, a person creates a habit of progress. These habits compound, and the skills, knowledge, and confidence gained gradually create opportunities that might have been unimaginable at the outset. In the end, part-time ambition proves that you do not need to wait for perfection or ideal circumstances to start pursuing your dreams. By giving even a small portion of your time with dedication and purpose, you begin transforming potential into reality. The hours once considered spare become the stepping stones to a life of achievement. What begins as part-time effort has the power to grow into full-time opportunity, shaping a future far greater than the one imagined when the journey first began. The message is clear. Success does not demand that you wait for the perfect moment or dedicate every hour of your day from the very beginning. What truly matters is the willingness to start, even in small, part-time increments. By using spare time intentionally, staying consistent, and nurturing your efforts patiently, you can achieve your goals. You lay a foundation that compounds into extraordinary results over time. Small steps become momentum, momentum becomes growth, and growth transforms dreams into reality. The magic lies in beginning where you are, using what you have, and committing to steady progress, because even part-time ambition, when applied with focus and purpose, has the power to create a full-time life of achievement, opportunity, and fulfillment.